The Upside of Stress. Summary. Author, Kelly McGonigal, PhD. Core idea. How you think about stress matters. Changing your mindset about stress can transform stress from a health risk into a source of motivation, connection, and growth. 1. Overview and central thesis. Kelly McGonigal argues that stress itself is not a uniform hazard. Rather, how we perceive and respond to stress determines whether it harms or helps us. Traditional public health messages treat stress as an unqualified enemy to be avoided. McGonigal reframes stress. It is not always bad. It can be functional and adaptive. The key variable is the stress mindset, whether you believe stress is debilitating or enhancing. Shifting to a mindset that views stress as potentially helpful changes physiology, behavior, and long-term outcomes. This shift does not eliminate stress or deny its difficulty. It changes how the body and mind interpret stress reactions, and that reinterpretation can produce measurable benefits. 2. The science McGonigal relies on. McGonigal draws on a broad interdisciplinary literature: psychophysiology, endocrinology, social psychology, neuroscience, and longitudinal health studies. She discusses research on cardiovascular reactivity, cortisol and adrenaline, immune function, the hormone oxytocin, and epidemiological links between stress and health outcomes. Importantly, she highlights experimental studies showing that people's beliefs about stress affect physiological markers, such as how the heart responds, and behavioral outcomes, e.g., performance, persistence, willingness to seek support. 2 recurring scientific claims. Cardiovascular response depends on appraisal. When people view stress as a challenge, can meet the demands, blood vessels remain more dilated and the heart pumps efficiently. When stress is appraised as a threat, demands exceed resources, blood vessels constrict and risk to cardiovascular health increases. McGonigal uses these findings to argue that stress reactions involve both vulnerability and resource, threat and readiness, and that our mindset modulates which predominates. 3. Stress mindset: debilitating versus enhancing. A central concept is the difference between 2 broad mindsets. Stress's debilitating mindset: belief that stress harms health, diminishes performance, and should be minimized. This leads to avoidance, helplessness, and behaviors that can increase harm, such as isolation, unhealthy coping. Stress's enhancing mindset: belief that stress can improve focus, motivation, resilience, and social connection. This fosters approach behaviors, problem solving, and help seeking. McGonigal emphasizes that the mindset is not an attitude of denial. People can acknowledge that stress is difficult and still believe it can lead to growth. She presents experimental evidence showing that brief interventions, information, and exercises that reframed the meaning of stress can shift people's appraisals, physiological responses, and even long-term outcomes. 4. How appraisal shapes physiology and behavior. McGonigal explains appraisal theory. Stress is not just an external event, but the result of appraisal processes, how we evaluate demands and resources. 2 appraisals matter. 1. Primary appraisal. Is this situation relevant to my goals? Is it a threat or opportunity? 2. Secondary appraisal. Do I have the resources to cope? When people appraise high demands but also their capacity positively, challenge mindset, the body mounts a mobilization that prepares for action. Increased heart rate but efficient circulation. When demands are appraised as overwhelming, threat mindset, the body shows constricted circulation and hormonal profiles linked to immobility and long-term risk. Behaviorally, a challenge appraisal leads to active coping, focusing, problem-solving, approaching others for support. A threat appraisal leads to avoidance, shrinking, and sometimes unhealthy coping, such as substance use, disengagement. 5. The role of social connection. tend and befriend. Contrary to a purely competitive fight or flight framing, McGonigal explores social biology. Stress often activates social motives. People seek support, help others, and strengthen relationships. She describes research indicating that stress triggers the release of oxytocin, which encourages seeking and offering support, promotes empathy and trust, and protects the cardiovascular system by buffering the effects of stress. This insight reframes stress as an opportunity for social bonding. Even when stress increases arousal, if it motivates connection, the net effect may be beneficial. McGonigal argues that modern Western messaging, telling people to handle it yourself, ignores this innate social response and can make stress more isolating and harmful. 6. Meaning. How stress makes life matter. Another major theme, stress often signals that something is meaningful. Painful or intense experiences are frequently tied to important goals: parenting, exams, deadlines, caregiving, activism. McGonigal uses examples to show that people who find meaning in stressful experiences report better psychological outcomes. Stress can act as a spotlight, sharpening priorities and clarifying what matters, which in turn fuels motivation and purpose. She distinguishes between meaningful stress, aligned with values or goals, more likely to generate growth; meaningless stress, chronic, avoidable, or socially imposed without purpose, more likely to harm. Finding or creating meaning does not always require reframing everything positively. Sometimes it means acknowledging cost and choosing to accept stress because of the values at stake. 7. Practical strategies McGonigal presents. The book is practical. It offers exercises and habits to engage a stress-is-enhancing mindset and harness stress productively. Key strategies include reappraise stress symptoms. When you notice a racing heart or sweaty palms, tell yourself, "My body is preparing me to rise to the challenge." This reinterpretation can change cardiovascular responses and reduce fear. Use stress to energize your focus. Label the arousal as energy and channel it into action, e.g., break tasks into manageable steps. Connect with others. Use stress as a cue to reach out, asking for help, sharing worries, or offering support. Social connection converts stress into resilience. Even when stress increases arousal, if it motivates connection, the net effect may be beneficial. Practice small acts of courage and kindness. Exposure to manageable stressors builds capacity and reframes difficulty as growth opportunities. Write about values and meaningful goals. Reflective writing and values exercises help you see stress as tied to purpose, which increases motivation and reduces the sense of futility. Plan for deliberate recovery. Recognize that stress can be useful, but rest and recovery are part of a sustainable response. Good sleep, movement, and breaks are essential. These techniques combine cognitive reappraisal, behavioral activation, and social strategies. McGonigal suggests short practices, 2 minutes to 15 minutes, that are designed to be feasible in daily life.
8. Workplace implications. McGonigal addresses how organizations frame stress. Many workplaces adopt a stress reduction approach focused on removing stressors. While reducing unnecessary stress is valid, she argues that organizations should also cultivate environments where stress signifies meaningful challenge and where social support is available. Practical implications include reframing deadlines and goals as opportunities for mastery and learning, encouraging help-seeking norms and mentorship, designing jobs with autonomy and skill challenge balance, training managers to model helpful stress mindsets. She cautions against toxic positivity and blaming individuals for systemic stressors. Organizational change must be structural as well as psychological. Otherwise, mindset alone can be unfairly placed on those in high-stress roles. 9. Health outcomes and long-term studies. McGonigal reviews epidemiological studies linking stress and mortality, but reframes the interpretation. Some large studies show higher mortality for people reporting high stress, but McGonigal points out moderators, whether people view stress as harmful, and whether stress is chronic and uncontrollable versus acute and meaningful. She discusses research where people who report high stress but believe stress is not harmful do not show the increased mortality seen in those who think stress is bad. This is used to argue that mindset moderates long-term health effects. She is careful to say mindset is not a cure-all. Unconstrained chronic stress, poverty, discrimination, caregiving burden requires social policy and structural support. Still, mindset can matter in individual differences and can be cultivated as a low-cost intervention with measurable benefits. 10. Critiques and limits as addressed in the book. McGonigal acknowledges limitations and anticipated criticisms, not blaming the victim. She explicitly rejects the idea that people should simply think positive to escape structural harms. Stress from injustice or ongoing deprivation is not solved by mindset alone. Evidence complexity. The science is not uniform. Many studies are correlational. She uses experiments where possible, but admits more research is needed to map boundary conditions. Personal differences. People vary in temperament, trauma histories, and resources. Mindset interventions will not be equally effective for everyone and should be integrated with other supports, therapy, social services. Ethical use. Employers or institutions could misuse the message to pressure people to accept unfair stress as growth. McGonigal warns against such misuse and encourages an ethical stance emphasizing support and choice. 11. Stories and case studies. Throughout the book, McGonigal uses personal stories and case studies, students, military trainees, caregivers, and workers, to illustrate how mindset shifts happened and what outcomes followed. These narrative vignettes make the science concrete, e.g., students who reinterpret exam anxiety as energy perform better. Caregivers who find meaning and connect with others show better mental health despite burden. The stories demonstrate both the promise and the realistic effort required to change one's relationship to stress. 12. Exercises and interventions she recommends. McGonigal includes brief, research-informed exercises such as 2-minute reappraisal practice. When stressed, pause and label the arousal as "my body preparing to help me." Visualize acting with focus and strength. Connection prompt. When stressed, send one message to a friend or offer help to someone. Track the results. Meaning inventory. Write for 10 to 15 minutes about how stressful experiences relate to your values. Identify one value you'll act on this week. Stress journal. Notice reoccurring stress triggers and note whether the stress feels meaningful or avoidable and whether you sought support. These are designed to be repeated and to create new neural and behavioral patterns over time. 13. Broader cultural implications. McGonigal examines how Western cultures often medicalize or pathologize stress. She contrasts this with other narratives that see hardship as a rite of passage or a teacher. She suggests a cultural shift toward acknowledging stress's dual nature, a source of suffering when uncontrolled, and a source of growth when engaged with purpose and connection. Education, parenting, and public health could benefit by teaching young people how to respond to stress adaptively rather than trying to shield them from all discomfort. 14. How this book differs from toxic positivity or simple optimism. A crucial nuance. McGonigal is not advocating for blanket optimism or telling people to ignore pain. Instead, she offers a pragmatic stance grounded in physiology and behavior. Accept the reality of stress reactions, reinterpret their meaning, and channel them into socially connected and goal-oriented responses. This differs from toxic positivity because it legitimizes difficulty and provides concrete practices rather than default cheerfulness. 15. Practical takeaways. 1. Notice your stress mindset. Do you see stress as harmful or helpful? 2. Reinterpret your body signals. Racing heart equals readiness. Sweaty palms equals mobilization. 3. Use stress as information. Let it reveal what matters and push you toward action. 4. Connect when stressed. Reach out and offer support. The social response matters biologically. 5. Build small challenges. Exposure to manageable stressors increases capacity. 6. Advocate for structural change. Mindset is useful but not a substitute for fair systems and supports. 7. Practice recovery. Rest and restoration are essential to sustainable stress use. 17. Who benefits from this book? People who experience frequent performance anxiety, students, professionals, athletes, caregivers, and people in emotionally demanding roles who want better coping strategies, managers and workplace leaders who wish to design healthier, high-performing environments, anyone interested in translating psychological science into everyday habits for resilience and meaning. 18. Final evaluation, strengths and cautions. Strengths. It bridges rigorous science and accessible, actionable advice. It offers concrete interventions that can be tried immediately. It emphasizes social connection and meaning rather than platitudes. It provides a balanced view that recognizes structural constraints. Cautions. Not a panacea for chronic systemic stressors. Policy and social support are essential. Individual results vary. Some readers may need therapy or medical care in addition to mindset work. Potential misuse by organizations that might weaponize the message to justify exploitative workloads, a misuse McGonigal herself warns against. Conclusion. The upside of stress reframes an everyday human reality. Stress is not simply an enemy to vanquish. Instead, stress can reveal what we care about, ready our bodies for action, and motivate connection and courage. The science McGonigal presents suggests that how we think about stress fundamentally shapes physiological responses and behavior. Practically, small reappraisal exercises, values work, and social connection can convert stressful arousal into energy, focus, and compassion. Importantly, the book balances individual strategies with a commitment to fairness. Mindset is powerful, but it should not excuse injustice or neglect systemic solutions. For readers seeking a science-based, humane approach to stress, McGonigal's book offers both explanation and usable tools to transform stress from a threat into an ally for growth and meaning.